In today's Lightroom 5-minute quick edit, as always, I will take a raw file, this picture right here in this case, and I'm gonna turn it into the finished and fully edited picture at the end, while showing the whole process from start to finish in just about 5 minutes. First off, I'm gonna bring down the highlight slider by 100 just to get a lot of detail in the sky and in the clouds. Then I'm gonna bring up the shadows a little bit because they were a bit too dark for me. Then I'm gonna bring up the blacks quite a bit, and that will make the picture look quite washed out. But I'm gonna do that so I can bring the contrast to the right without actually clipping anything. As you can see here, that's really the job of the blacks. Then I'm gonna bring up the whites to make this whole picture very dynamic. And I'm gonna make sure that I don't clip anything by holding down the Alt or CMD key on a Mac. Then clarity, I really don't need any of that, so I'm actually gonna go into the minus. That really just exaggerates the very fine textures if I would bring that up. Then vibrance and saturation, let's see what works best here. I don't really think vibrance works. Saturation does a much better job, so I'm just gonna bring that up a little bit. Then the overall color temperature, before I actually change that, let's go down into the split toning. Go into the highlights and add some warm tones right here, and already you can see it looks much more pleasing, much more inviting, less bluish. But at the same time, I'm gonna go into the shadows and still add back some of these blues, because at the end I want to have a little bit of a coldish and kind of old school and very mysterious look. So that really works well. Then back to the color temperature. Here I'm just gonna fine tune everything and make sure I have it in the best possible way at the end. And once again, I don't really want to make it too cold, but at the same time not have it too warm either. The tint is just fine how it is, but there are a little bit too many green tones, so I'm just gonna go into the saturation, just grab this little pinpointer and go over the greens and bring those down. So I really just affect the actual green saturation. As a next step, I'm gonna bring up the highlights a little bit in the tonal curve, just so the sky is a bit more interesting from before to after. Then let's go down and down. Detail, I really don't have time for that. Same with the profile corrections. Instead, let's just add a little bit of vignetting, bring the midpoint more towards the center and make sure that the feather looks very natural, and just adjust the actual effect to something that looks very good. Then that's pretty much it in terms of the global adjustments. Already it's quite a big difference from before to after, but I do think there are some graduated filters needed, especially from the top with some minus exposure. Then adding some contrast and at the same time making the sky less bluish, but also do that with the tint additionally to the color temperature, and that should really work quite well. And let's add another one with just minus exposure over the bottom just to close out the picture a little bit. Then let's go straight away into the rail filters, add some plus exposure, dodge and burning. I really don't have too much time for that here. And just make some certain spots a little bit more interesting. For example, right here, it really works. Maybe here on the shore as well, you know, just some certain spots, and just right click and duplicating the actual filter. And maybe another one over here, just make this part of the boat as well as these leaves a little bit more interesting. And also do the same thing with this cliff right here. So that is pretty much it in terms of the dodge and burning. Maybe I'm actually gonna grab an adjustment brush, just add a bit of warm color temperature and make it quite a nice size. And then just paint over the actual boat, because I think the boat was a bit too cool. But I just want to do that without the rest of the picture becoming warmer as well. And maybe as a final touch also going into the lens correction still, and removing the chromatic aberration so we get rid of this nasty green fringing on the high contrast edges. And I'm gonna say that this is pretty much all I'm gonna do. Maybe I'm gonna grab another filter, rail filter right here with some more plus exposure as well as warms, and just add another one over the left part right here. And this is pretty much it. I'm gonna call it a day. This is the whole 5-minute edit, and if we see here from the raw file to afterwards, it's actually quite good if you ask me. It's quite interesting. Perhaps I have to go into the tint here and kind of equivalate out some of the greenish tint, but then it really actually looks good in my opinion, especially considering we've only invested about 5 minutes into it. Thank you very much for watching, and if this was too fast for you and you would like to see me explain all of these sliders rather than just move them, then you can subscribe for more videos, because this is really just one format of many. I do a lot of in-depth tutorials as well. But once again, thank you very much for watching and have a great day.